Philadelphians know hard work, but you don't have to do it all yourself. TaskRabbit has been helping residents in the city of brotherly love for over a decade with everything from furniture assembly to minor home repairs. Don't let that to-do list ruin your weekend. Use the TaskRabbit app to describe what you need and find a skilled tasker in your neighborhood. Also, there's transparent pricing, so you'll be able to see the hourly rate up front, which includes the tasker's rate and the service fee. So there's no surprises at checkout. Download the TaskRabbit app or visit taskrabbit.com today. It's the Tuesday News Roundup. We're talking about how the city's budget deadline is coming up later this month, but proposed taxes are driving debates about how the city plans to pay for everything. And what's the future of waste disposal? Plus, Philly puts on a lot of festivals, but are we getting it right? It's Tuesday, June 2nd. I'm Trenae Marie, and here's what Philly's talking about. Nick, what's something you'll never do in Philly?
That's really, really hard.
I know.
I've done so many things in this city. So this is going to sound very intense. I'm not going to die here. Yeah.
Okay. Where's your escape?
Yeah.
Florida?
Yeah, exactly. I'm on the first Spirit Airline. Wait, Spirit Airline's not around anymore. To Orlando. Now, my wife and I say this all the time because we've built so much on the street that we're on. But it's just what does the future hold? Where are we going to live? But yeah, just there's other places to go and be and visit, and where we'll end up. I don't know if we'll be living here in Philadelphia.
Why do you think that's important for you to know where you're going to die?
I think it's more about the different chapters of your life in the future. I was especially too, I'm a very nature-based person. I really love nature, and we're spoiled because I live on an urban farm basically in the city. So that really helps. I mean, but I just see my end years, the peace kind of coming to it, just being kind of fully immersed in nature. That's probably the best answer of why I don't see myself. It's nothing against Philadelphia. It could be any city. It's just, I want to be immersed in the woods and have that kind of peaceful existence as my body starts to slow down and sunset.
Not everybody's built to be in a city their whole life, so I get it.
Okay.
Sorry, I went really intense there.
No, it's okay. It's
No,
okay.
right.
Guys, that was Nick Esposito, co-founder of Circus Systems and a local trash expert. He's joining me today for this roundup. The other voice that you hear is our senior producer, Abby Fritz. Abby, we have been working together for 4 years now, and I think I know you enough, but I want to learn something new about you today. So what is something you will never do in Philly?
It's hard. I try not to ever say never. And I think I actually will surprise you with this, Trenae, because I love a boat. I love kayaking. Me and my partner just got some kayaks, which is really exciting.
Nice. Okay.
But I have zero desire to ever go on a big boat in the Delaware. I do not need to go on the Moshulu or whatever it's called. I don't need
Moshulu or
Moshulu,
Spirit of Philadelphia.
Maybe I'm just it's such a big boat and it's such a little river that you're covering. It just seems excessive to me. But, I just think there's other things I'd rather spend my money on and do in the city. Didn't quite go as far as deciding if I want to die in Philly, but I know for sure you won't catch me on the Spirit of Philadelphia, the 4th of July, any day of the year. I think there's better places to be.
Okay, so when I think about this question, you will never catch me climbing a grease pole. That is something I will never do. One, it seems really physically hard. Okay? Yeah. I do not have the arm strength. I think I have the leg strength. I don't got it. I need to work on the core maybe a little bit. And number two, a grease pole is it'll mess up your clothes. I wonder if the grease that they use stains your clothes.
So I should cancel the CityCast Philly pole climbing team for next year.
Yes,
you
should.
Festival. Yeah,
yes, you should.
Not participating. Okay.
I do want to point out you guys picked two things that you could both die doing. So you kind of have something in common.
Okay.
There
you go.
Yeah, you're right.
There you go. That's full circle moment there.
Listen, there's so much not to do in this city. So let us know what that something is by sending us a text at 215-259-8255. 8170, and it could be used for a future episode. Or you can leave us a voice memo. Let us know what you would never do in Philly, and we can press play on the show. All right, let's get into some conversation about taxes, because we are in the final weeks before the budget has to be approved by the June 30th deadline. It is such a complex conversation. And what we've seen recently, and the reason why we're bringing this up, is because we lost a lot of those pandemic funds to support different initiatives in the city. And so the city is pretty much trying to come up with newish ways of using what we got to make some money off of it. One of those ideas is something called the 20-year tax abatement. And so essentially what this is Mayor Parker has a plan to give developers a tax break so that they can convert unused schools, and especially the office buildings in Center City that have been empty for years because of COVID and jobs going basically remote. And the idea is to convert these unused buildings and property into residential housing.
Yeah, there's already a 10-year tax abatement currently, but Mayor Parker really wants to incentivize people to develop because, there has been more development recently in Center City, but there's still 15 million square feet of underused office and industrial space in the city. And so she went to Harrisburg. She was working with state lawmakers to create this 20-year tax abatement that would allow for renovations. And we were meant to see some legislation on this, right, Trinae?
Yeah, but the problem is that there is no legislation that's been introduced to council yet. And there's so many other connecting conversations that are engulfed in this conversation. There's this ongoing school district facilities plan rollout that will close. It's a massive closure of 17 schools starting in the year 2027. And we are also in the final weeks before the city has to finalize the budget. And so lots of unanswered questions. What is the city going to do about this overall 20-year tax abatement plan? Nick, I want to get you into this conversation too. What are your thoughts on kind of this whole conversation and all the moving parts to it?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'll say is I have no problem paying taxes. I am a fan of paying taxes when I can see my tax money actually in action. And I know the mayor says that, and that's part of the platform, but it's like I kind of believe it when I see it kind of thing, right? You can say it, that doesn't make it happen. And I think when it's really kind of just hard to wrap my brain around when you're bringing up the 20-year tax abatement in lieu of what's happening right now. I don't remember getting so many letters from the revenue department before, and maybe that's just a sign of good government. They're really trying to make sure that they're staying on top of their things, but you're not seeing the other side of it where that money is being spent to actually make things better. And with the 20-year tax abatement, it's kind of like I couldn't think of a thing I wouldn't do in Philadelphia because I do so much here. It's a great place. And it's like, are we selling ourselves short? People are coming here anyway. It's a seller's market. There's already, and this is a horrible thing, but housing shortages. So people need places to live. You've seen a lot of immigrants
and affordable
coming
housing
into the city.
At that too.
Exactly. 100% affordable housing and an affordable city. Right. And a lot of people come to Philadelphia because it is affordable in some respects. But if taxes keep getting hiked up, you're not going to get them to stay longer, right? So you're going to get someone a 20-year tax abatement now in this administration to kind of get the units built, get people in. But then once they get here and they don't see their tax money being put to work, how do you actually keep them here?
I want to also give context too. We're also in this space too where we hear about the dollar rideshare tax that could impact us as well. We're talking about last week on our Friday News Roundup about the hotel and air and short-term rentals tax. That will increase the prices for everyone, for hotels, for folks renting out their Airbnb for major sports games or whatever. So to your point, it's going to put pressure on everyday people for sure. What other taxes in the city seem to be a burden, you think?
The other tax that really, this has been people up in arms, especially in the small business community, startups, there was an exemption for about 12 years on the first $100,000 of income under your what they call your BRT, your business revenue tax
And that's
receipts.
the BERT.
The BERT, they call it the
Yeah,
BERT. Yeah,
the BERT.
so
Yeah.
BERT. No, every I feel bad for anybody who's from the business whose name is actually Bert because everybody hates Bert. But
Poor BERT.
Poor Bert. But again, you need to tax businesses. Of course, you need to tax businesses. If they're doing business and they're thriving, they're making money, sure. But this was a big lifeline for, businesses that were just starting out, people that, were just kind of like solopreneurs. I mean, they're still
The
paying
mom
a
and
form of the city
pops,
wage
yeah.
tax. So they're still paying some bit of money even before this exemption was up. But there was a lawsuit brought by a medical device company from New England that said that this was unfair, that because they made, millions and millions of dollars in the city, that they're paying all these taxes when there's a big section of people that aren't paying taxes, and that big section of people are everyday working Philadelphians trying to make it work, trying to make ends meet, and taking that money and reinvesting it back into our local economy. But again, these aren't big corporations making tons of money. These are mom and pop shops, again, solopreneurs, people, handyman making money, right?
But the city needs revenue, right? And like that's the reality. We do need ways to make money to pay for the amenities of living in the city. Like that's the reality. So part of it to me too is like we do have to pay something to get something.
I 100% agree. That's why I said in the beginning, like, I don't mind paying taxes. I'm happy to do it. But when you're driving around the city and your car's hitting potholes left and right because they're still existing, when the street, they have this big clean and green initiative and the streets are still dirty, you're getting a rideshare tax when it's really hard to take SEPTA around, because of cutbacks in that service and just sometimes the state of anybody who's been on the L. It's just, you have to balance it out. It's really hard to swallow all these new taxes when the state of the city and the life quality of being here is not improving. And that's extremely frustrating to me.
And it sounds like it was probably too, like, if you're opening a business, you're thinking, you have a 5-year plan, you have all these goals, you're thinking ahead. So people were accounting and expecting to have this 100,000 that wasn't going to be taxed, and then for it to maybe suddenly be taxed after you've spent 2 years or whatever getting a building ready and then opening the business, and then, oh, now I have to pay these taxes. So yeah. I can see it being totally unexpected. But I think, like Trinae was alluding to, it's always a two-sided coin here where it's like, yeah, we need to find ways to make money. We want to help our small businesses. We do need to fill out these empty office buildings at some point. It's definitely an issue. You know what I mean? Going back to the 20-year tax abatement, but is the way to do it to give big redevelopment companies a break? Like, I think that's where the small business owners, the people in the city that are being impacted by other taxes are like, these guys are getting a deal. Why are they the ones getting the deal? Right. It's so hard. It's so hard to figure out how to go about these things.
Right. And because all of this also coincides with other areas of the city, like the school district, like the budget and things like that, which we will continue to talk about because we are in the final weeks before council has to pass the budget on June 30th. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing if Mayor Parker comes forward with legislation about this 20-year tax abatement. All right, we've got more after the break. As you begin to make your itinerary for summer, add Brooklyn Bowl to the list. Brooklyn Bowl is a perfect blend of live music, bowling, beer, and food. It's located in Fishtown next to the Fillmore. 24 bowling lanes, 2 bars, and a restaurant featuring food from the Blue Ribbon Restaurant Group. It's open Thursday through Saturday evenings with live shows and parties every week. Half price bowling Thursdays, family bowl Saturdays, plus food and drink specials in the restaurant during Phillies games. Go to brooklynbowl.com/Philadelphia to purchase tickets to shows, make a restaurant reservation, or inquire about hosting your next private event on the Brooklyn Bowl lanes. Fitler Club is Philadelphia's best kept secret. Imagine a place where you can start your morning with a workout, jump into a co-working space with private rooms and offices, and then wrap up the day with cocktails and dinner, or even a round of bowling, all under one roof. That's the experience at Fitler Club. Located right across from 30th Street Station, this members-only club is designed for modern city life. The fitness center spans 2 floors with an indoor pool, golf simulators, and even a cold plunge. There are multiple co-working spaces, 2 bars, a restaurant, private balconies, and yes, complimentary babysitting for members, so you can truly focus on you. Ready to join Philly's most unique private club? Visit fitlerclub.com to learn more and apply today. That's fitlerclub.com. Apply now. Philly sends 40% of its trash to get burned in Chester. If you didn't know, now you do know. This is such a contentious, ongoing issue here in the city because time is up. There is a deadline, another June 30th deadline for the way in which we handle this particular contract. It's up. And so the question is the city going to renew its current contract with a facility called Reworld? Now, Reworld is a facility that has one of the largest incinerators in the country. It's over in Chester. And Philly sends, again, 40% of its trash to get burned there. But get this, local environmental groups and residents of Chester have urged city leadership for years that these incinerators are causing them harm to their air quality in predominantly Black neighborhoods. And so what is the city going to do about this contract? Now, the city's Clean and Green Initiatives Director, Carlton Williams, said that the city could ask for a 1-year extension so that they can figure out other ways to dispose of our trash. So the question that I have for you, Nick, is you're the trash expert. So when it comes to these contracts, how often are these discussed? And can other businesses make a bid to help out here so that we're not causing environmental harm, we're not causing health issues for another city?
Yeah, so the 40% goes to Chester, the Reworld, but the other 60% goes to landfill north of the city that Waste Management owns. So it's like neither solution is a good solution, right? And especially the very immediate effects that's happening to the people of Chester when they're breathing that air in every day. So we need better solutions. So the way the contracts work is usually it's about a 4-year contract with 3-year renewals. And a lot of times those renewals are just kind of formalities. They usually, unless something really, really bad is going awry, they're just going to wait for that 7-year period. So the last time that we did this was in 2019. Full disclosure, I was actually a part of those conversations and negotiations because I was working for the city at the time as the zero waste and litter director. But yeah, so they basically the way it works is sanitation puts out what's called an RFP, a request for proposals, to a bunch of different entities. They respond for both the solid waste and the recycling contract. They get these RFP bids back. The sanitation department, along with like the law department and some other entities, get together. They have a screening committee. They pick what they think is the best RFP. They present it to city council. Most times city council says, I trust you guys. This looks good. Okay. There was a big thing after when recycling was introduced in the Nutter administration, making sure that there was a recycling contract and, they had the right people vetting that contract. And then city council votes on it at the end of the year. This year was different because Jamie Gauthier introduced a piece of legislation called the Stop Trashing Our Air Act. And that basically said that the city cannot incinerate its trash and has to find other ways to dispose of it.
Right. She wanted to ban that practice. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that, from my understanding, is still working its way through city council and has not gone up for a full vote. I'm not even sure if it got out of committee yet.
Yeah, so the act did pass out of committee last year, back in like November. But in January, council member Gauthier pulled it from being voted on by the entire city council because of a lack of support from the council. So, it could come back. We'll see if it gets introduced again at some point.
And I will say to Councilwoman Gauthier's credit and the advocates who are around that, I mean, they did make it a really big issue and they kept it going. And I'm thinking, to your point, Trinae, how you led the story was the fact that they're putting it on hold to give it a year to continue to look at what they could do with this contract before they sign it. Because I think they see the people power and the rallying behind not wanting to send this stuff to Chester. But again, it's what is the solution?
Right. The city has hired 2 firms to evaluate other disposal options. So I'm guessing that means that it's top of mind. It's definitely not something that they don't care about. I think that they do care about this issue and they want to fix it.
It is, but that also, to play devil's advocate to that, I mean, groups like Circular Philadelphia, which I'm a board member of, as a co-founder, and our new executive director was very vocal with the city around looking at these waste contracts and how can we do better and how can we open up more opportunity. They put out an RFI, so a request for information, back last summer, asking, different businesses that were within the circular economy, zero waste type businesses, recycling, like localized recycling, to put forth ideas. And it's just a bummer that those ideas were not put forth. When you looked at the contracts, they were basically exactly the same, with like some of the dates changed and like one little paragraph about, oh, we want to explore other ways to manage our waste in the solid waste contract when it was finally released.
And help me to understand like what that really means though, right? For like the average person.
Sure.
Even though that these options could be healthier for the environment, is it more expensive? Does it create more jobs?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you'd have to see what the proposals are to see what's going to be more expensive and what's not more expensive. But the fact that you would have like people local, again, getting back to the tax conversation we were just having, like where do we want our tax money going? Do we want it going to big multinational corporations that are polluting in cities, especially cities of color, like you pointed out? Or do we want it going to localized businesses that, and there's plenty of them that do composting, recycling, different types of material, recycling from glass to textiles to, all these different options, which would be putting money back into those local companies. And it's a proven fact that recycling companies create more jobs than disposal companies.
And you think that those companies have the infrastructure to handle that 40% of our trash?
So that's a big piece of it. So a lot of them don't at this point. But again, having the access to the money to be able to build out their infrastructure, to be able to continue to grow, you can think through these phased in ways of where materials are flowing, how they're flowing, and the resources that those companies need to continue to expand, because they are doing good jobs. They are handling. It's not like, it's just somebody in their basement, like a hobbyist doing this. I mean, these are
Right.
legit companies that are like,
Right.
and they just, to get that money, to get those contracts that are going to allow them to scale. Even the bigger companies that come here, I mean, companies have said this publicly, like they need some better contracting and better investments to be able to build the infrastructure. Because right now, the only company that really owns most of the infrastructure here is Waste Management. Again, I'm not going to sit here and make a decision on or a comment on Waste Management and their practices, but if there's anything good about the capitalist system that we formed, is competition, right? To make people kind of do better, to compete with each other, keep prices low. And when you have one game in town that owns all the infrastructure, that makes it really challenging. Well, you have these other entities that are building their infrastructure, and to be able to support them is, and again, it's going to be much better for processing material within the city of Philadelphia. It's going to be much better for job creation. And it's not that much money. Not asking for like the entire contract to go to them. I would always say like, just take 10% of $50 million of our tax money goes to pay for trash disposal and recycling. Trash disposal being landfilling and incinerating. Take 10% of that, it's $5 million, and invest it back in a circular economy. That's serious investment for these companies and allows them to start growing and changing the way that, their growth trajectory and scale to handle more materials. And we just get a better city for it.
So what you're saying is to not immediately be like, okay, we're going to stop burning trash. We're not going to do landfill. We're going to try to completely replace this entire system with, these local things. You're saying let's slowly invest in the smaller guys, start giving them business and seeing how they handle that capacity to eventually hopefully continue to reinvest in Philadelphia and allow them to grow. And maybe in the future, they can take on more capacity and then they can grow and hopefully eventually be able to replace some of these practices, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'll use two examples. Tim Bennett of Bennett Compost, he's been very vocal about this. Like if tomorrow the city of Philadelphia is like, we're doing curbside organics, Tim, get ready. Here comes all the trucks. He's going to be like, whoa, 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 like too much, too fast, right?
Right. Because I'm thinking like, you would have to explain it to me as a person who disposes of trash, put your banana peels in a certain box versus your other
100%.
household items. Like, that's going to be another level to this of like teaching Philadelphia residents how to do this.
100%. But also it's like, I mean, again, to your point, it's a phased in thing, right? So it's also could be showing them and giving them the option that this is like a better option, right? When you're able to keep your food, like how Bennett Compost works is like in a 5-gallon bucket with a closed lid. It keeps it nice in there. The smells aren't coming out. You put it on your steps and someone comes and picks it up. it's a lot better than just throwing this like smelly trash in your normal trash can with the plastic lining that's like allowing all those smells to get. It's just a better way to handle your waste, right?
I hope I don't lose my lid.
Yeah.
It's another. Well, see, it's nice and clamped on there. You're not going to lose your lid, right? The way that
Okay,
Bennett does it.
good.
The other example I was going to give is like the folks down at Bottle Underground. That's part of Remark Glass at the Bach Building. Like right now, they don't have capacity to handle all of the city's glass, but in talks with their founders, Danielle and Rebecca, they can continue to grow to be able to handle more material, right? And they could be part of this processing, right? And they could work with the city. And this is an example of the city reinvesting our tax money in smart ways that then supports local businesses, that grows more jobs, that, the flywheel just keeps continuing and Philly gets better and better.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for your insights on trash. We've got more conversation after this break. Art Philly's What Now 2026 is a citywide festival taking place now through July 2nd. It's featuring over 30 newly commissioned projects by Philly artists. What Now 2026 highlights Philly's creative spirit, deepening the artistic heart and soul of the city. And so tomorrow, June 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Performance Garage, Vote That John will showcase an exhibit with renowned spoken word artists, performances, video, and social media. Vote That John encourages Philly's youth to amplify their voices through art making and research anchored by spoken word. For tickets to these projects and more at What Now 2026, please visit artphilly.org. Festivals in Philly. Woo! This past weekend, lots of festivals were happening in the city. I went to the big Roots Picnic Festival, which I will talk about the reviews after I let y'all take the floor first, because you guys both went to the West Philly Porch Fest.
Yeah, and it was just such a blast. I used to live in West. That's where I first moved kind of back into like Philadelphia when in my mid 20s. I moved to like 47th and Baltimore area and just
Okay.
I spent many a good years in that neighborhood just roaming around. So it was nice to kind of be back. It's just everything that's great about Philly was happening that day. It was wonderful.
What's your review on like the organization of West Philly Porch Fest and the actual music you heard?
So I specifically and intentionally went in not really looking at the map, and I went there on like the treasure hunt, just
Oh,
walking
you were
around.
there for vibes.
I was there
Yeah.
for vibes, and a
Yeah.
good thing I was because I ran into my buddy Josh who was playing, and he was on Baltimore Avenue. We're walking up, and I see him. I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "You got to listen to this guy." I think his name was like JJX. He was so good. He was someone who plays with him, and my friend Josh was like, "Yeah, we were supposed to go on like an hour ago, but there's no time. Like, there's no timelines. It's just so." To be on like a schedule, like we have to go see this band at this time. Like some bands were playing like at that. There was this band, Mariposas Galacticus that played. That was,
Yeah.
I
I
think they
saw
played.
them.
I saw people walking there, like, okay, now the show's
Hmm.
starting. But I think that's the charm of like shows are going to start when they're going to start. You're kind of on West Philly time, and you're just wandering around the neighborhood. Like I wandered back to my buddy's house at 48th and Hazel, and we sat on the porch, and it was kind of we'd seen a lot. I was a little tired, so we're just sitting there having a drink on the porch, and all of a sudden this drumming band sets up and they play, and it was incredible having porch seats for middle of the street drumming. That's the I think the beauty of it, that things are just gonna the experience is just happening. And yes, I was going on vibes.
You were lucky you had a friend to go to their house to chill out at, because
Yeah.
bathrooms, nightmare. I was like texting every single person I know that lives around that area to be like, can I pee in your house, please? Because there were free beers around, there was free hot dogs at some sets. Like, just walk around.
Right, because the West Philly Porch Fest is this like annual kind of do-it-yourself music, all sorts of different genres,
Yeah.
playing on porches.
Yeah, just like, and you're supposed to just walk around. But that's to Abby, your point about going there. That's what makes. I remember back in like my family's from South Philly. Like I grew up in the Jersey suburbs, but we would go be in South Philly all the time for big things, especially like Mummers Day. So like 2 Street, same thing happened at 2 Street, right? It used to just be more of like after the Mummers Parade happened, people went back. They had their clubhouses, they had their open houses. You knew somebody. Yeah, that's how you got in. That was your price of
Yeah.
admission, was knowing somebody. So you had a house to go to. And then all of a sudden, like kids are coming shipped in with like, I remember school buses are showing up on at like, 5 o'clock. and they have cases of beer, and there's nowhere to pee, there's nowhere to go. To your point, Abby, it's like people are starting. Sports Fest has gotten really big.
Yeah, it's
People
gotten
know about it. They
huge.
show up, and they're just like, I just want to come to this outdoor concert festival.
I went in thinking, yeah, this is a DIY low key thing. I'm going to come in and then I'll chill. And I spent 8 hours there and was beat afterwards because I was trying to take public transit in, take public transit out, didn't bring water, didn't think I'd be there that long, like that type of thing. But it was fun. I definitely like think it's a fun experience to do. And I will be finding someone that I can sit in their house the whole time if I go again. That is the vibe. You need a home base.
Well, in West Philadelphia, I was chilling at the Belmont Plateau, trying to catch a vibe and listen to some music. I try to work the Will Smith Fresh Prince in there. But
You had to go. You had the
The cadence, yeah.
Listen, I was over on the other side of West Philly at the Platte, at the Roots, the annual Roots Picnic, which is a premier music festival where you can see kind of a different version of music, but it's like top recording artists of hip hop, R&B, even gospel artists. It's organized by the Roots. It usually happens around Memorial Day or like after Memorial Day weekend. People from across the country and world. Y'all competing with Philadelphians maybe, and like a busload of like, I don't know, suburban people come into West Philly Porch Fest. I'm competing with the world. Roots Picnic has been running for like 18 years. And I feel like with the evolution of the newish social media platform Threads, people are going off into some really deep discourse about their experience, what they thought that they were going to get for paying $450 for general admission plus, which you ended up getting filtered in with the regular general admission at the entrance. So there was no special like thing they were getting. It was pretty much the same. Guys, it was taking like nearly 45 minutes to get in because there were no like structured lines. And so the first night I really missed so much music. You got to go to the Roots Picnic Festival like an hour before even the gates open if you want to make sure that you're there on time, you don't experience long lines. But then on Saturday night, this guy who calls himself Jay-Z comes standing on stage with this huge afro. And I'm just like I'm just so blown away that this 56-year-old has all of this hair. And then he starts freestyling, dissing Drake and Nicki Minaj, and then starts doing raps to some of his top hits, and then brings out like the entire state property. And the performances are so epic that I forgot that I was pissed off that I only was able to get chicken fingers and French fries and paying $25 for that. Yeah. But there was only $3 waters, which I was like, whoa, really?
That's pretty
Water's
good.
only $3? I'll buy it. Give me one. And so I completely forgot about all of that. I was just in awe that I knew the words. I still knew the words to these songs. It's been like 20 years. But the performance was so epic. And it was a once in a lifetime thing. Here we have a local band, The Roots, have developed this stardom and developed this brand of the Roots Picnic. And you're happy for them. But at the same time, that needed better infrastructure.
Yeah.
Will I do it again? Totally depends on who the act is. Most likely, yeah. I would definitely do Roots Picnic again. If I have the money to front a VIP pass, that experience probably was worth it. And if I don't, I probably still would go. Just because, I mean, it was so many people. It was so great to see friends. But come on, it is Jay-Z, right? And I would definitely see a hip hop legend like Jay-Z, and on day 2, see a legend like Erykah Badu.
Well, I feel like Trinette, you just like summed up. That's the exact like analogy for just the city of Philadelphia. It's like nothing works, nothing's planned for. It makes absolutely no sense. But then you have like the most epic moments of your life that you'll never forget. Even if you don't even if you don't die here, even if you go somewhere else, you'll never forget those moments.
So this is the start of festival season. There's going to be a lot happening over the summer. We all had this experience this past weekend. What is our checklist when we're going to, the 4th of July? The Wawa Welcome to America, I know it got rebranded.
It's like one City United concert now.
Something like that. Yeah. All, you talked about Adunde this yesterday.
Oh, yeah, Adunde's coming up, yep.
Like, there's so many festivals happening. What are the, things we need to remember when we're going to the stuff this summer?
Check to see what are the rules on bringing water. I think you have to be hydrated to just survive the heat or, the different elements, because it will be summer. What I really did like about Roots, they had a water station. The only thing I did not like is there weren't any proper hand washing stations at the bathrooms. So
hand sanitizer.
I heard from a few influencers that I follow. Just Shanae, she is a local Philly food influencer. She suggested that you bring wipes with you, because there might not be any proper hand washing stations at the porta potties. And that's what I did. And I was so grateful that I did it.
Nice. That's a great tip.
Yeah, my tips just, if you just take public transportation if you can, but also try to plan for how you're going to get there. It sounds like they weren't running a lot of extra buses out to the place. There's not that many buses that go out that way anyway. And it's they didn't have extra things. The trolleys weren't running more on time. Plus they were going down the street where people were blocking Baltimore Avenue at some points. What's your tip, Abby?
For me, I'm going to think about bathrooms. I've got to figure out pee before you go and figure out if they have porta potties or if you need to have a coffee shop or something on deck to hit.
Well, that's the other problem too, right? We don't have enough public bathrooms to begin with.
Know your vibe, right? It's if your vibe's I want to go to this kind of more passive, I could stop in someone's house, neighborhood festival, just hanging out for the day, in and out at my leisure. Great, that's the vibe. But if the vibe is I need to see Jay-Z and I'm going to do anything possible to get there, that's the vibe too. And just know what you're kind of getting yourself into, because there's so much going on this summer. A good example is that Lemon Hill Fan Fest that's happening.
Oh yeah,
a lot of what you guys are talking about sounds like it's going to be kind of messy like that. A lot of soccer, I don't understand why it's not in the stadium complex and why it's at Lemon Hill. There's probably good reasons for it.
39 days.
For 39 days, shutting down major roads in Fairmount Park.
In a neighborhood that's very popular.
Yes, and doesn't have a lot of parking, and it's messy to get there.
That could be another conversation, but I don't think any neighborhood in Philly has excellent parking.
No, definitely not.
Not at all. Yeah, but at least down in the stadium district, there are huge parking lots.
It's built it's built for events like that.
It's built for big events like that.
I think the argument to keep it though in a neighborhood is to try to maybe get folks to tap into our neighborhoods and not keep it in Center City or keeping it in the Stadium District. If you went to Fan Fest at the Stadium District, you can't just go and eventually end up at a local restaurant that you could patron. All right. Well, this was fun, y'all.
Thanks, Trinae.
Come back soon, Nick.
Anytime you guys want me, I'll be there. This is a very fun conversation.
And maybe we don't have to talk trash.
Yeah. Hey, we talk trash for a very small part of this. So I'm proud of it. It's it's the gradual, you can't do it all in one shot.
Phasing out. Yeah.
Phasing out and phasing in.
That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. Also, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. And don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.